Okay, so we're doing exercise 9C, and we are up to question 3, which tells us 2 regular dice are rolled. Use the sample space for this experiment to find the probability that the sum of the numbers showing is, and for A, even. So in other words, what's the probability that when I roll 2 dice, that when I add those 2 numbers together, that my result is going to be even? We're being told in the question to use the sample space, which is down here. So the easiest way we could go about this is simply going through these and counting how many times the sum of the 2 numbers is going to be even. So 1 plus 1 is 2, that's even. 1 plus 2 is 3, that's not even. 1 plus 3 is 4, that's even. 1 plus 4 is 5, that's not even. 1 plus 5 is 6, that is even. And you could just do this for everything, for the whole sample space. And what you're going to find is that these are all going to be even, the ones that I'm highlighting. Hopefully you should start seeing a bit of a pattern emerging. And then you'd count up everything that I've highlighted, and you'd see that I've highlighted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I've counted 18 sums that are even. There's a possible outcomes, all the possible outcomes would be 6 by 6, which will be 36. So that means my answer is going to be 1/2. And that's how you would answer the first question, by using your sample space. Now, I just want to stop here for a second and show you another cool way of solving it. And it's kind of realizing the fact that if we look at our first row here, you can see that I have 1 plus 1, and 1 plus 3, and 1 plus 5. And they're all giving me even outcomes. And hopefully what you can notice there is that 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 5, they're all odd numbers. So when I plus 2 odd numbers together, the outcome will be even. When I look at my second row, you can see that I have 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 6. So there I have 2 even numbers that I'm plussing together. And when I plus 2 even numbers together, I get an even result. And you can see here 3, 1, 3, 3, 3, 5, that's odd, odd. 4, 2, 4, 4, 4, 6, that's even, even. And so on. Now that I've done this, I could go, all right, what are all the possible outcomes which are odd for my first roll? Well, I could roll a 1, a 3, or a 5 as my first roll, and then my second roll, which are all going to be odd, would be 1, 3, and 5 again. And then what are all my possible elements that are going to emerge from having my first roll being odd and my second roll being odd? Well, for instance, 1, if my first roll was 1, I could then roll a 1. Or I could then roll a 3, so a 1 and a 3. Or I could then roll a 5, 1 and a 5. So as you can see, there are 3 possible outcomes for an odd odd if my first roll is 1. 1 could be 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 5. And you could do that for all of your 3 outcomes there. So basically, what we're going to see is that we're going to get 3 times 3 is going to be 9. So if I have 2 odd numbers giving me an even number, there are going to be 9 times when that's going to happen in my sample space when I'm rolling 2 regular dice. We could then come to even and say, what are all the possible even numbers I could get as my first roll? And that's going to be 2, 4, and 6. And then as my second roll, I could get 2, 4, and 6 as being my only possible even numbers. And then it's going to be the same logic again to figure out how many elements I'm going to get. It's going to be 3 times 3, which is going to be 9. So that means for my even numbers, it's going to be 9 plus 9. So 9 plus 9 out of a total of 36 possible outcomes. Well, 9 plus 9 is 18 over 36 equals 1/2. So there are just two ways of approaching it. Don't worry too much if you don't get this way of figuring it out. The question is asking us to use the sample space. So you probably only need to be able to figure out how to draw your sample space and then just count. But I think this is a pretty nifty way of answering the question as well. Let's now go to 3b. 3b is asking me the probability that the sum of the numbers is going to be 3. So again, we're being asked to use the sample space, and well, 1 and 1 is going to give me 2. That's not going to work. 1 and 2 will give me 3, and therefore 2 and 1 will give me 3. And nothing else will give me a sum of 3. So that means that there are 2 possible outcomes out of 36. So that means my answer will be 1 on 18. Pretty easy. Let's now go to part C, which is trying to figure out the probability that the sum of the numbers is going to be less than 6. So again, I'm going to come and look at my sample space, and I could go, all right, less than 6. That's going to be less than 6. This one, this one, this one. 5 and 1 is 6. That's not less than 6. 4 and 2 is 6. That's not going to count. 3 and 2, 2 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 3. 3 and 3 isn't going to work. 1 and 4 will work. 2 and 6 won't work. And then, hopefully you can see it's kind of figured out to be a bit of a diagonal there. And I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means there are going to be 10 outcomes out of 36, which can be simplified into, well, I can half 10 to give me 5, and then I can half 36 to give me 18. So my answer will be 5 on 18 as my final answer for 3C. Hopefully this video was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next video.